It is Tuesday, my dudes.
I just figured that out. I was going to say.
Yeah.
Freaking Wednesday, but it's not.
Yeah, that's the actual original Vine. He says it's Wednesday, my dudes.
Oh,
that's like
Vine.
one of my favorite Vines of all time, and I don't know why. The guy in the Spider-Man costume, have you ever seen that?
I never watched any Vine.
It is Wednesday, my dudes, and he lets out this ungodly, I've
heard people say that.
Yeah,
though.
that's where it comes from. Comes from Vine. I'm Justin.
And I'm JP.
And we are the Podcasting Dead.
Try not to burp.
It's okay, man. You burp away. Everyone does it. But we normally podcast about The Walking Dead, but here in the last year, we've really branched out, and we've got several different kinds of podcasts, including this one, which is where we talk about some current things that we've found on the interwebs. And stay tuned till after the podcast. We'll give social media info if you want to follow us. We'll also talk about our Patreon if you want to help support the channel, because every dollar that we get will go into improving this podcast. Our goal is within the next year to turn these into completely like video podcasts. That's what we want to happen. So
you want to see us, believe me.
Oh, yeah. But, yeah, so this is the point in which we're going to talk about some things happening on the internet. Was there anything else I usually do in the intro?
No, we're trending, baby. That's all we're doing. What's trending?
We're trending. So this weekend is Father's Day.
Yes, it is.
It is Father's Day, and I found something pretty interesting on the New York Post. This is, things that dads actually want for Father's Day. And I want all of these. So
why are you looking at me, brother?
Maybe like
come out your weed.
Tell my girlfriend or something.
Oh, okay.
So maybe she'll hook me up. Let's see though. So the things that people want, we're going to go from 10 down to 1. So 29% would like an expensive physical gift, like an Apple Watch. I mean, who wouldn't, right? I'd take one. Number 9, a glass of whiskey, said 29%. You know I'm on board for that.
Just a glass, not like a nice bottle?
That's what it says. Yeah, I think like you want a bottle of whiskey.
Yeah.
I'd be happy with that. But nonetheless, I will pour my own whiskey because I always got a bottle of whiskey in the basement. So
I've noticed.
JP's been in the man cave several times in the last few weeks and has seen my little mini bar.
I was going to say, I think I've spent more time in there in the last 2 weeks than I have since you moved in
our entire
house.
friendship. Yeah. But yeah, JP will tell you, always on top of my mini bar, there is a globe-shaped decanter. It looks like the Earth, and it's all the continent stuff. But it's always full of whiskey, usually Crown Royal, sometimes Jack, every now and again Jack and Honey. The funny thing about that is I keep it filled with Crown Royal or Jack Daniels, bourbon, because I find not as many people like Jack and Honey as much as I
do.
Yeah.
That's really smooth.
Right. Thank you. And I'm about to say to hell with everybody, because don't you know I've put that there. And yes, some people have taken drinks, but more often than not, when I ask someone like, hey, do you want would you like a glass of bourbon? They're like, no, I'm good. So I'm just going to fill it up with Jack and Honey. And if somebody is like, I want some bourbon, well, it's Jack and Honey. If you don't like it, deal with it.
Now, are they like taking shots? Are they mixing it with Coke? What are they doing?
More often than not, they use it to take shots. Like when we have a New Year's party every year at my house, and usually that's when people start using it the most and take shots. But I usually mix a glass, but I always keep some kind of soda down there, like Coca-Cola or Dr. Pepper here recently.
Jack and Coke's a beautiful thing.
So you can mix them together, but it depends on the whiskey. If it's Crown or Jack and Honey, I'll drink it by itself. I'll drink Jack's Original by itself, but I do like to put a splash of something in there with it, just with regular Jack, because it tastes so good. But moving on to number 8, to watch whatever they want on TV.
That's a gift.
I watch whatever I want anyways. That's why my girlfriend, when we moved into the house, had no problem with the idea of like a man cave, because if I want to watch something she don't want to watch, guess what? I just go to the man cave.
It says a lot about our society, man. We set up separate rooms just so we can watch what we want on TV, you know.
It's a beautiful thing.
I guess, back in the day, like 4 channels, wasn't really an issue.
You were just happy to be one of the families that had a TV.
Yeah. I want to watch I Love Lucy. I want to watch Leave It to Beaver. I don't know if they were conflicting shows or not, but
that was beautiful. That was a great impression. I felt like I traveled back to the 50s there.
In the 50s,
You sounded like an angry, slightly alcoholic father who's a little frustrated with his job and now just wants to sit in his chair with the TV on and read the newspaper.
All of that's true except for the father part.
Yeah, that you know of. That you know of, brother. All right, and coming in at number 7. Wow, this was higher than the whiskey. A glass of wine. Said 34%. Yeah, apparently there's a lot of wine-loving dudes.
Father wants a glass of wine over a glass of
I've
whiskey.
had a hard day of work. I want a glass of wine.
A nice Merlot, honey.
Bring me my pipe.
Is this Frasier? I mean, I don't know what's going on.
I'm not downing guys who like wine. I can do Moscato, but I'm just not really a big wine guy. I've always been more like a whiskey. And believe it or not, I used to hate vodka. Here in recent years, I've gotten to where I like a vodka and orange juice every now and again.
I like vodka because it doesn't have the scent. So I like vodka's a very practical liquor for me. And wine, man, there was a summer where I was drinking a lot of Pinot Grigio, so I can do wine. It's
Yeah,
not
like I
my
said, I'm
go-to,
just not a
but-
big wine guy, but
Yeah.
I won't turn it down. I'll take a glass of wine.
Yeah, definitely not my go-to. But I have my moment.
But I do keep some wine. If you notice, next time you look, I keep it chilled, so it's in my refrigerator down there. But the next time you're down, look, I do have two big bottles of wine down there for like the people that do drink wine. I try to be a very considerate host. You know, I even though you didn't take it, I have offered you beer when you came down, whiskey. I think I poured you some vodka the last time you came. So
Yeah, we need to get a bottle of that Walking Dead wine before it's all gone.
We really
I've been
do,
seeing
yeah.
less and less of it on the shelf.
if we do a video podcast, we could drink it while podcasting. Maybe that could be its own like drunk podcasting.
My dream is to just like store, however you properly store wine, just store it, and whenever they finally have the series finale, that's when we
Pop it
uncork
open.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a
drink it.
great. Okay, we'll go get a bottle. That's a great
We
idea.
can go in halfsies. I think it's about $20 for a bottle.
I'm
so,
down.
I mean,
Let's do it.
Not
Yeah.
crazy expensive.
Yeah. You said the Game of Thrones wine was disgusting, right?
I mean, as someone who doesn't really like wine, yeah, I think it was a Chardonnay, perhaps. I was expecting a red, being it was Game of Thrones, such a bloody show, and when you see them
I
drinking
like
wine,
red.
it's usually
I like
red.
I like red wines a little more. Though a lot of the Moscato that I'll drink is not. But coming in at number 6, a cheap practical gift like socks or a tie at 35%. I get enough socks Christmas time, and I'm good on socks. Don't give me socks for Father's Day.
I
I'm
like-
appreciative,
right.
but I'm appreciative anytime you go out of your way to buy me something. But if we're being honest, I'm not going to be that excited about socks.
Yeah, I like to buy my own socks, unless you're buying me some kind of wacky, like, dress sock. That's cool.
Now,
but-
I'd be cool with that, like some Rick and Morty socks
Yeah,
or something
yeah.
a little crazy. Yeah, that's cool. That's different.
Otherwise, I pick out my own.
Number 5 at 35%, a few beers. A few. Give me at least a 6-pack.
Yeah, like a nice 6-pack of craft beer.
Yeah. I love a nice Hefeweizen or a Pale Ale or a Kolsch. I mean, I'm not, it's a lot of them out there that I'd love to have. I actually had a, was it a Hefeweizen? Yeah, it was a Hefeweizen. A girl got, I don't know if I'm saying that right, but my friend's wife got some from up in Clarksville, which is near us, and we cooked out last week, and she gave me one, and it was scrumdiddly-umptious. I loved it. Now I want a beer. We definitely, it's like today, if you notice this podcast is coming out late, hopefully you're listening to it on Tuesday. You might even be listening to it on Wednesday morning. It just depends, because we with work, we're tied up from there. Tomorrow's podcast will be on time, but some days this week we are going to be tied up in the mornings. But and if we do any more afternoon podcasts, we should totally have beer in here.
Yeah, hopefully my indigestion won't be flaring up. But
We'll
yeah,
go
I
get
would
a
love
double. We'll go
beer.
get a doozy next time. Like, we're going to have to do it in the afternoon on Thursday for mail call, most likely. So, hey, after we get done there, we can grab some deuces, put them in the fridge, and when we podcast, crack them open.
I'm with it.
Coming in at number 4, watching a baseball game with the family at 38%. I mean, I love to watch baseball, but as a Father's Day gift, I mean, again, I have my man cave. I go watch the Red Sox. Speaking of which, Big Papi got shot. So we're going to talk about that here in a bit. David Ortiz, he retired like 2 years ago, I think.
Okay.
Probably one of the most famous Red Sox players of our generation.
I've definitely heard the name, but so they're not talking about like tickets to go see your favorite
No,
baseball team.
just sitting in the
live.
like just being allowed to watch a TV game, baseball game with their family.
Okay.
Coming in at number 3, 38% said they would just love some peace and quiet.
God, yeah, that one I can get down with.
How do you not have peace and quiet? You don't have a wife or kid, which I don't have a wife either, but you don't have kids. I didn't up to this point, but now I've got one that, which I got to give my girlfriend props. She does a great job.
Even still, just as much as I have, I want more of it. I'm like the King Midas of solitude.
Okay. I can get it. I mean, we were talking about that today with some of our other radio people, just about how nice it is sometimes to just do nothing.
Right.
To do nothing.
Just to have a day to yourself. Don't bother me.
A lot of weekends we have friends over. We go to friends' houses or get-togethers, and they're not this Saturday, but the Saturday before, I didn't do anything Friday night or Saturday. Friday night, man, I was asleep earlier than I'm ashamed to admit how early I went to bed, but it's nice. You know what I mean? You get to watch whatever you want to watch. I watched a ball game. I just sat on my butt and enjoyed it. Number 2, a big steak, said 41%. I will always accept a big steak for a gift.
Yeah, I love steak.
My old pal Josh Marlowe, who we might be podcasting with here soon, had himself, we went out to dinner with him on Saturday, and he had himself a nice old 30-ounce ribeye, a smoked ribeye.
I saw, no, he put a picture of some steak. I think he cooked
That was
it
what they
himself.
cooked,
That was from
the
Chuck's.
next day. Yeah,
play a
Chuck's.
little butcher shop, yeah.
But yeah, no, I was going to get one, but it was very pricey, and I don't mind paying top dollar for a good steak, but I have to, I don't know. I was like, do you mind if I try a little bit of yours when it comes out? And if I like it next time, I'll get it. But I did end up getting a ribeye sandwich. It's like kind of a steak and cheese sub in a way. Best steak sub I've ever had because they actually cook your ribeye however you want it, and they cut it up and put it in the sandwich.
So your boy ate steak 2 nights in a row.
But
you need to tell him about the dangers of red meat.
You tell
heart
me.
disease.
My sister gives me hell all the time because my girlfriend and I eat steak sometimes once a week, sometimes 2 or 3 times a week. So yeah,
which I'm one to talk. I mean, I eat red meat like a fiend too. I mean, whether it's burgers on lunch break or whatever.
Number 1's going to kind of make you sad.
Oh boy.
I mean, like, really, this is going to kind of, this is
like
going to be kind of
a plot or life insurance. Or
no,
something?
This one's kind of sad though. Number 1, 47% of dads said that the Father's Day gift they want the most is just a phone call from their kids.
Huh. I guess
sad.
that's for the fathers whose kids have flown the coop. They've moved on.
Yeah, man, call dad on Father's Day, man. I mean, unless your dad's, I mean, some people might have good reason not
unless
to.
he was abusive.
Right. In that case, I don't know. But if you've just gotten busy with life and you don't talk to your parents that much, man, if was one thing I've learned, I think we all learned, life lesson. If you're a younger listener, listen up because you're going to learn this as you get older. Look around you when you're at family gatherings and when you're with your friends. And in 10 years, several of them won't be on this earth anymore. Like we both have experienced how someone can just be here, and you expect them to be here for much longer, and then they're just cut short, and you're like, "What?" You don't see it coming. So you don't ever know. This might be your dad's last Father's Day. I'm not gonna get sappy, but you don't know. So I mean, as long as it's not like JP said, one of those situations where you just got away from your dad because he was abusive, or you just maybe had an argument, something silly, or you just don't feel like talking to him, man, screw that noise. Call dad on Father's Day and tell him you love him.
Or,
tell him you appreciate him not pulling out.
Yeah, you might not be the one there in 10 years.
That's true.
Sometimes it's kind of nice to look around and be like, yeah, I've outlasted such and such so far. And then you start kind of plotting in your head, maybe I should start thinking of ways to, get rid of these friends so I make sure I'm the last man standing. And then you turn into a murderer. And
if you try to murder me, man, all I got to say is bring it.
You got too many guns, man. You'd definitely be last on the list.
So that wraps it up for that list. Man, kind of a sad note there. So, yeah,
you got me feeling down, man.
I know. Let's bring it back up. Let's talk about the most fun states in the United States of America.
The most fun?
Yeah, this is a list I found on wallethub.com. A new study or survey, I guess. They ranked all 50 states on Wallet Hub from they use things like they have fun places to visit to there's nothing to do there. So if you want to do some traveling, here's the cool thing. We have a lot of listeners that are not here in the United States, which JP and I love that. We've talked about that many times, how cool it is to, let's say, we have listeners international, and we love people of all countries. So it's super awesome to have listeners outside of the United States. And a lot of times, you notice we do get common questions. We just got one, if I was coming to the United States, where would you recommend I visit? So this might help you out if you're one of our British or New Zealand listeners or Switzerland, wherever you're listening from. So let's check it out. So the rankings are based on 26 different categories, including the number of attractions, fairs, state parks, amusement parks, quality of beaches, scenery, restaurants and bars, music festivals, and casinos. So check this out.
Do you want to start with the beaches in Arizona? Dreadful.
Do you want to start with the 10 least fun or the 10 most fun?
Oh boy, let's go with the least fun.
All right, so the top 10 least fun states are West Virginia, which is kind of sad. One of our listeners we just talked to a week or two ago said he's from West Virginia.
Yeah, there's a lot of great methamphetamine up there.
Mississippi, Delaware, Rhode Island, Vermont, Arkansas, Alabama, Connecticut, New Hampshire, and Kansas. And can I just say, why is it Arkansas when it's Kansas? They say English is one of the hardest languages to learn, and it's things like that why I'm like, yeah, it probably is, because it's spelt AR and then Kansas.
Right.
And Kansas is spelt, same as that. It's Kansas. But when you say Arkansas, you don't say Arkansas.
That's wild, man. It seems like there's more southern states and like New England states than anything. I expect it to be a lot of like Midwestern states where it's nothing but wide open spaces,
We didn't make either of the top 10s, so I'm not hurt. I mean, at least we know we're kind of fun.
Yeah, fun's not too far away.
Yeah, right. You can find something to do here, I guess. But the 10 most fun states are California, of course, Florida, of course.
I figured Florida would be up there.
New York, of course, Washington, Colorado. We know Colorado would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm trying to move there.
Nevada, Minnesota, Pennsylvania, Oregon, and Texas.
Texas, yeah, I hear Texas is pretty lit.
That's where my dad wanted to move for the longest time. Like, it was a good chance. Like, there's a good chance if you believe in the multiverse theory or the many worlds theory that there is a Justin who is not here podcasting with JP. His dad found that dream job in Texas, and now I'm living down there having a rootin' shootin' good old time.
Yeah, my mom worked down there for a good while, man. They've got a self-sustaining economy, dry heat.
They've wanted to like secede before, right? Like we can survive on our own. We don't need you, America.
I mean, generally speaking, I think a lot of people down there consider themselves Texans first, Americans second.
Right. Whereas here we're like, I'm an American first, a Virginian second.
Right.
But so yeah, if you're looking to visit the states, there you go. There's the top 10 that you should maybe consider checking out, and the top 10 that you just don't even really need to go to. Let's see. So moving on, let's see what else I've got on my list here. First, let's just go and talk about Mr. David Ortiz, Big Papi. So there's still a lot more questions than answers. And if you don't know what we're talking about, recently he was shot. Somebody ran up on him at a bar and shot him in the back, from what I've read. And so here are the things we know. The Red Sox sent an air ambulance to pick him up and bring him back to Boston for additional medical treatment. He arrived last night. There were reports that the bullet miraculously missed all of his major organs, but that's only partially true. Doctors had to remove his gallbladder and part of his intestine. His liver and small intestine were also damaged. The Red Sox asked fans to observe a moment of reflection shortly before a game against the Texas Rangers at Fenway Park. They posted a message on the video board saying, "We send all our love to David Ortiz." David's assistant claims that David was the target and that he was shot by a hired gun, because a lot of people were saying somebody might have got him mixed up with somebody else, and that's why they ran up on him and shot him. But they said no, in fact, they do think he's the target, and it was a hired gun. He said, quote, "The robbery motive was discarded, and there's no doubt that it was an act of a hitman. It's under investigation. We hope that it will be concluded." The rarely reliable British tabloids claim the hitman was hired by an unnamed drug lord who wanted revenge because David was having an affair with his wife. Of course, that's just very tabloidish right now. It's the rumor. Makes sense, though.
So this guy, he's active duty ball player.
No, he's retired.
He's retired.
Yeah, he retired like 2 years ago.
Okay, so it's not like somebody had a huge bet on a game.
No.
Okay, gotcha.
And the New York Post put out some quotes that he made 4 years ago talking about how dangerous the Dominican Republic has become, which is where he's from and where he was. Boston.com has grainy surveillance video of the shooting, but I don't really care to see it. So, but I guess it is out there. So, yeah, thoughts and good vibes to Mr. Ortiz, man. You're one of my favorite ball players. I don't think you're listening to this, but if you are, I hope that smooth and fast healing. So check this out. Miller Lite, a beer that JP does not like. Normally,
not crazy about
I like craft beers. I can do Natural Light, Bud Light. I'm just kind of one of those people. I can drink almost whatever. Now, some of the super, super cheap stuff I can't do. And I'm surprised you don't like Miller Lite, because then some people are going to be like, Justin, you're crazy when I say this. But to me, Miller Lite, more than Bud Light, Coors Light, Natty Light, Miller Lite has more of a craft beer taste to it.
Yeah, see, if it's a cheap beer, I would just as soon just have it kind of the water. Like, I love Natural Light. Bud Light's all right.
I like Michelob Ultra.
I don't like Coors, man.
I can't lie. Coors gives me a headache.
Something about Coors I've never liked.
That's too much like water.
Miller High Life, now that would give me a headache like you wouldn't believe.
Well, if you thought Coors Light had a good beer... Wait, what? If you thought... What? That makes no sense. Okay, so like you remember when Coors Light had those cans where the mountains turned blue when it was cold?
I do remember that, yeah.
If you thought that was cool, that ain't nothing. Miller Lite just created a new beer can that works as a video game controller. It's got a control pad, buttons, and a Bluetooth connection to hook up to your computer. Unfortunately, if you want one, you have to go to an event in L.A. tomorrow night and beat the comedian Eric Andre in a game of Street Fighter. So get ready to pay big for one, the next day when somebody wins it and they sell that bad boy on the internet.
So it's a beer can that turns into a remote.
Pretty much.
Control. Wow. Okay.
Is there? But my question is there beer in it though? Like, is it just the can controller? Because that's not. I want a beer. There needs to be beer in it. You know what I mean? Like I drink the beer and then I play the game.
It just seems like there's more useful things to turn a beer can into. I mean, people have been turning beer cans into weed pipes and crack pipes for years. Why not just make it double as that? People are already using it for it.
Just comes with like it could have a removable film. Like it's got the holes already poked. It's just got a film, and then once you drink it, you pop the film, and then you do whatever you're gonna do.
I'm telling you, man, one of the most disgusting things I ever witnessed. This guy's having to do some work around the house for him. Made me pull over. Got this nasty can of Old English out of the ditch. Poured the rest of the beer out of it and just hit up a crack rock right there in that Old English can he found on the side of the road.
You want to know something crazy? I used to drink Old English.
Did you?
No kidding. I did. Like we used to play. You ever played 40 hands?
No.
Around here, it's hard to find it in bigger than like a 32 ounce, or at least it used to be. But like if you went across state lines, you could find it in a 40 ounce. And we used to do, if you don't know what 40 hands is, odds are you do, but if you don't, like JP, 40 hands is a fun game that I'll never play again. I used to play it a lot as a kid. But you take two 40s and you duct tape them to your hands, completely rendering your hands useless, and you cannot take them off until you finish. I luckily haven't because I just don't have any shame, man. I'll wiggle my wee-wee out and pee if I got to pee, you know what I mean? But I've watched people piss themselves because they couldn't get their wee-wee out, yada, yada, yada. I just really couldn't get to the zipper. See, the key was, here's the key. If you ever play 40 hands, let me tell you, it's kind of cheating. But the reason why I never pissed my pants, because when I taped it up, I always made sure like two of my fingers could still move. So if I had to go pee, I still had the 40s on my hand. I couldn't open doors and I couldn't do anything, but if I had to go to the bathroom, I could take my fingers and unzip and then use both hands to yada, yada, yada. You know the rest. But
yeah, man, I've seen pictures of that now that you explain it.
Of me and my wee-wee peeing?
Well, I've got pictures of that. But no, I've seen pictures of this game. I don't know, man.
We need to talk after this.
I never needed a game to help me get, blitzed.
Right.
I'd handle it just fine,
I enjoy competition. So, and I am proud to say my very first game of 40 hands, I won. But I lost in the end, absolutely, because I finished mine in about 45 minutes. However, I got entirely too drunk. A 19-year-old Justin.
45 minutes, yeah.
I was wasted, and I basically thought I was going to throw up. I didn't. I had a video camera because I was one of those kids. I videoed everything, you know. And I was watching. Apparently, I don't remember any of this. Apparently, I laid over my head in the toilet to puke, and when I didn't puke, I got bored and thought that would be a good spot to watch the videos we'd recorded that night, and I passed out with the video camera playing videos and my head in the toilet. Not in the water, but just hanging over the toilet. I've done that a couple of times, like going in there thinking I was going to throw up, and I don't, because I don't throw up often. Not saying it don't happen, but it's a very rare thing for me to throw. I usually will pass out before I throw up. But there have been several times where I've woken up or been woke up because I was sleeping next to a toilet. It happens.
If the night's over, man, I'll induce vomiting just to get that poison out.
See, my little brother's friend did that one time. He wasn't drunk or anything, but he had a few drinks, and he was staying at my house, and I was like, well, yeah, man. I'll let you get a drink if you want, like one, and he did that at the end of the night, and he said he threw up, and I was like, oh man, are you all right? And he was like, oh no, I do that every night. Like I do that so I don't have to worry about, Right. He said I'd never have a hangover.
Now, if I want to keep the buzz going, I'm not going to do that. And I generally won't do it before I go to bed, but there's been plenty of mornings where I got up just super hungover and induced vomiting, and I feel like it made me feel better. I don't know.
Actually, believe it or not, something that might sound gross, but it works. If you're really hungover, promise you, the thought will make you sick. Drink a beer in the morning.
Yeah, I've heard the old hair of the dog.
I've done that, and I don't know if it's a placebo or what, but I had a friend one time, we both woke up really hungover, and he did it. And I was like, dude, the thought of beer right now grosses me out. He goes, I know, but just try it, just once. And if you do throw up, maybe you'll feel better. So I did it, drank the whole beer, and I kid you not, I felt fine the rest of the day. I don't know how, because the reason why you're hungover is because you're dehydrated. That's a big portion of it, and alcohol is kind of poison, but I mean, a big part of that's dehydration. I do find if before I go to bed I chug a bottle or two of water, I will feel better the next morning. Yeah. But anyways, so moving on to one of our favorites, dumb criminal news.
Oh, boy.
So this one is coming not out of Florida, I don't think. But so get this. Avocados have had a lot of hype, right? People really I don't like them. But
I've never tried one.
A lot of people really pump up avocados, but they might be a little bit more underrated than you think, because I didn't know you could use one in this capacity. A 47-year-old guy in Israel just got arrested after robbing at least 2 banks while armed with an avocado.
What? He robbed a bank with an avocado?
Yep. He painted it black and claimed it was a grenade, and it worked 2 times.
Did he like put a pin in it, or just?
I don't know, but he got $4,500 the first robbery, and then another $3,300 in the second one.
Yeah. Ooh.
Cops were not able to ID him from the footage they had because he had hats, glasses, and he even had an eye patch. But they tracked him down by comparing the cell phone activity at each bank. His phone was the only phone active in both places while they were being robbed. It turns out he has a record, and he spent 3 years in jail for a previous robbery. I don't know how much time he's looking at for these avocado incidents, but it's actually a picture online, too. But he robbed it with an avocado.
I guess when someone says they have a grenade, you're not really going to call their bluff.
Right.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, if you'd be willing to blow yourself up over bank money, though, like, wow, I'm going to rob this bank, and if I don't get money, I have nothing left to live for. Unless maybe you think he's going to throw it at you or something. I don't know. But so moving on to a little more dumb criminal news. That's right. We got 2 for you today. 2 for 1. And this one I'm doing because one of our loyal listeners, Brian McCann, actually shared it on Facebook, and I was like, hey, we'll throw that on there. She said, she was like, this is something y'all could use for your dumb criminal news. So we will do just that, because we always appreciate listener input and, interaction. So a 20-year-old guy named Fabrico from Florida. So sorry, Florida, we are going back to you. Florida is usually the ones that supply the dumb criminal news story. He was pulled over around 4:30 a.m. on Sunday, and the cops noticed he had some white powder on his nostrils, a little booger sugar, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So they ran a field test on the powder, and, well, it was cocaine. But he had an excuse. You ready for this? According to the police report, he said, quote, that he attempted, the police report, not, he didn't say, the police report said, quote, he attempted to tell the deputies the cocaine on his nose was not his.
Of course not.
He couldn't explain why someone else's cocaine was in his nose. Plus, he had a small bag with more cocaine on him and a huge bag of weed and Xanax, too. And, of course, he was arrested for felony narcotics possession. See, if he didn't have all that other stuff, I kind of would have felt bad for him. I'd have been like, man, I mean, he could have been at a party and somebody could have accidentally blown some in the air and it landed there. And you know what I mean? I mean, it's possible. But after finding it on him, like, yeah, you can't dispute that. That booger sugar belongs to you.
I want to party with this guy.
Good God, look at that picture. Like, I mean, it's clear to see all right here. He didn't even bother to wipe his nose.
Wow.
His pupils are a bit dilated, too.
He looks like he's having more fun than I am. Ooh.
Man, look at that. Yeah, so, you can't claim it's someone else's cocaine when it's on your nose. Lesson learned, I guess. And so as we come near the end of this podcast, we always have dumb criminal news and such, but we always like to share some positive story because mainstream media would have you think the world's going to hell, but it's not, because there are plenty of awesome people in the world, and we love to give them a little spotlight.
Things were way worse in the Middle Ages. I mean, come on.
No kidding. So this is pretty cool. There's a 5-year-old in Green Bay. And he was born with a condition where the arteries in his brain were all twisted up, and he had to have an operation last Wednesday to get that fixed. And there's a video of him dancing in the frozen food aisle of a grocery store because that's what he wanted to do when he got nervous the night before the surgery. Apparently his mom shops there late at night when it's empty, and he likes to dance around while she's getting groceries. His grandfather flew in from across the country to be there before the surgery. and he wanted him to dance with him. So he got out of bed around midnight, and he's in it too. The kid also needed the left side of his head shaved for the surgery, so his grandfather got a matching haircut just so he'd feel better about it. The best news, the operation was a complete success. It went better than his doctors had hoped, and they think he won't need any other treatments after this. He was back up on his feet within a few days. He even danced again while he was still in the hospital. The grocery store chain where they did the video is called Festival Foods, and they sent their mascot, a big turkey named Boomer, to the hospital to dance with this kid.
Well, that's cool.
You can't beat a good grandparent, man.
That's wild, man. I've actually a friend of mine, the blood vessels in her brain going to her eyes are kinked up like an old garden hose, you know?
Wow.
And if she doesn't get a brain surgery to unkink those blood vessels, she's going to go blind. So
that's a scary thing.
It comes to the brain, man. You just never know. Just the least little thing, man, goes wrong, and you're just SOL.
I really think, man, like brain aneurysms are so scary because, I mean, you really don't have much warning. You might get a headache or whatnot, but you just, I've heard of people. They're there one day, they say, hey, I'm going to go home. I got a nasty headache. And then they just die.
I mean, that can happen in your heart, too. I mean, there's a heart aneurysms.
My grandpa had some kind of aneurysm. I think it might have been a heart aneurysm.
Yeah. I mean, I guess technically anywhere where there's,
blood flowing.
Yeah, you can have an aneurysm.
And you thought we were done with that feel-good story, but alas, we're not. We've got one more in celebration of Father's Day.
Oh, boy.
So this is coming to us from Omaha Steaks. This is pretty interesting. The signs that you've hit peak dad. So if you are a dad, listen up. If you aren't a dad, you probably still know someone that this is very fitting of. So it's really not possible, and it's a reality I'm going to have to face as my daughter gets older, that it's not possible to be that cool dad forever. So if you want to or not, eventually you'll be the not-so-cool dad. Just let it happen. And in embracing that, you will again become the cool dad because you're so uncool, but you're so cool with being so uncool. That's really confusing. Anyways, so in honor of Father's Day, a new survey asked people for the signs that you've hit peak dad, and here are the top 10, going from 10 down to 1. Wearing cargo shorts at 28%. Now, remember when we were kids, even into our 20s, cargo shorts were what everybody wore. That was the thing, but I'm not going to lie, I pretty much wear straight leg shorts now. But it's just because, if you have to go to a wedding or something, it just goes better than cargo, but... Yeah, apparently wearing cargo shorts makes you not cool dad. Taking mid-afternoon naps. Now, I got a friend who's not a dad, but he takes 4 naps a day, so I guess he's just preparing to embrace the not cool dad when that day comes. I've actually watched this guy and his wife. They go to the beach with us every year. I have watched them get up from sleeping all night, eat breakfast, she has a cup of coffee, and they go take a nap. So, yeah, he's getting there. Number 8, having a chair. Said 28%. Well, I guess.
Oh, man, I've got a chair.
I'm there. Every time you come to my man cave, I get in my same long chair.
My recliner, man. That's
It's
mine.
My
captain's
Stay
chair.
out of it.
That's always been my captain's chair, too.
Yep. Spending lots of time in the shed comes in at number 7, 28% of the vote.
In the what?
In the shed. I guess if you have a shop or something. I mean, I spend a lot of time down at the creek. I really am into outdoorsy stuff. So I'll go down there and do bushcrafting stuff, even though I don't need to. It's just fun to do. Or I'll chop wood for the fire pit.
Yeah, my grandfather had a shed like that. One time he passed out just from a drinking in the middle of the day. And he was so skinny, I thought it was just a pile of clothes on the floor. And I'm like, Mom, what's all those clothes piled up on the floor for? And it was him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
In my basement, I've got a lot of my tools and stuff, and I work on stuff down there. So I guess my basement would kind of be like my shed. So, things aren't looking good for me, man. Number 6, getting excited to go to home improvement stores at 29%. I've always loved going in Lowe's and Home Depot.
I don't get much out of those.
Man, you're going to be cooler longer than I am. Number 5, constantly doing repairs around the house at 30%. Keep in mind, this is a survey people answered because... what? Am I supposed to just let the water keep leaking?
I don't know how to fix anything, so...
JP, you're going to be the cool dad forever.
Or really just the completely incompetent father whose family,
is living in filth because dad can't fix it.
It's a really bad situation.
Number 4, always manning the grill at 30%. Jesus, I'm a not cool dad, and my daughter's only a month old.
I like to do the grilling.
Right, I love grilling. And yeah, sometimes we talk about the grass and lawnmowers while grilling. Oh my God, this is not.
Yep.
I'm not hip anymore. Embarrassing your kids on purpose. Well, I don't fall into that one at least. That was number 3 because she's too young to be embarrassed. Number 2, busting out old dance moves. 32% said that at number 2. Yeah, I can't dance, so everything I do is bad dance moves. But you better bet as my daughter gets older, I will dance with her.
Do it.
It's going to look terrible on my part, but And number 1, laughing at your own bad jokes. Ha ha, joke's on you. I'm too stupid to even come up with jokes. So, I guess that in and of itself kind of was one, and I kind of laughed at it. Jesus Christ, this is going to
come full circle.
Oh, so, yeah.
Well, I've got to say, Justin, to your credit, since you've been a father, you're not tucking your T-shirt into your pants yet. That's a good thing. I haven't seen you wear socks with your flip-flops. That's also good. No jean shorts. So, you're avoiding a lot of tripes.
Thank you, JP. That makes me feel a lot better. Leave it to JP to make me feel better. So I'm only halfway to being uncool. I'm just not quite there.
You don't have the appearance, at least,
Thank you. Yeah. Oh, man. Coming from someone that's also my age. So
right.
It's like, a kid would be like, are you kidding? But I really appreciate that.
And I actually do wear jean shorts. So
I was going to say, one of the first times I met you were wearing, one of the first podcasts, I think you were wearing jean shorts.
Probably so. I think I cut them off and made them myself.
If she can make it up here tomorrow, we may possibly have an extra bonus podcast. We might actually have the first, and I don't know, maybe I guess we'll release it, but I would like to get a few, but we want to start doing some supernatural podcasts.
Oh, yeah.
Because our friend Jesse really believes in ghosts, has had a lot of experiences. JP just completely doesn't believe in them. I'm not saying I'm against the idea, but I'm pretty skeptical. I think 99% of ghost reportings are easily explainable. I'm not going to say you don't believe in ghosts. You're very open to everything, but you just think more along the lines like I do. A lot of times it's not.
Let me see the evidence. That's all I can say. But no, man, I'm all for the paranormal podcast. Our pal Jesse, I know our boy Matt Crowder's had some paranormal experience. Dan Ashdown and Mary Old Britt.
Yeah, we're going to have him on the phone. And as much as I don't really believe in ghosts, I do have some experiences to add that I can't explain.
Well,
I think there's an explanation out there. I just can't find it. So. But that was our current events podcast. We appreciate you hanging out with us so very much. Before we go, JP, let's talk about that Patreon.
Yes, Patreon. We're going to provide a link in the description of this video.
Right below where you're listening.
Yeah, patreon.com/thepodcastingdead if you don't like the link. And it's all the money goes into the podcast, plain and simple. Equipment, merch, which we would like to give to our patrons and viewers and what have you.
We really want the merch more than anything. We want this to be a video podcast, but as much as some of you have said you would like a T-shirt or a sticker or something, we want to give that to you just more than you probably want to get it. We think it would be so cool to know there's somebody in Britain rocking one of our shirts, or someone in New Zealand, or even here in the States, just that there's somebody out there that likes what we do. It's just a cool feeling to think that people want to rep you.
Yeah, man, I'd love to see our sticker, like someone take a picture of our sticker on something like in London, or
just stick it on like in Paris, go stick it on the Eiffel Tower.
That'd be so cool. So yeah, the Patreon, it's not for our own benefit, it's for the benefit of the podcast. Subscribe at any level. We haven't quite hit 10 patrons yet, but
it's only been up 2 weeks, and we've been honored to have 8. We really thought we would go like a year or so and not see a single one. So it's really cool.
Yeah, and when we hit 20 patrons, we're going to give away a Podcasting Dead prize pack. I've already put a video on our Patreon page of the first thing we're throwing into the pie.
I got something you can throw in, too. Put another video up. I meant to give it to you the last time we discussed this. I will make sure when you leave today you have it to put with the rest of the stuff.
Sweet. But yeah, it's a really cool action figure 2-pack. It's inspired on the comic book Carl and Abraham, black and white, blood splatter. Become a patron. Check it out. Check the video out. You also get to see my little comic book nook. Yeah, and it's a cool thing.
I need to show my little comic book nook.
Yeah, there you go.
I could do that and put that on the Patreon for people that haven't seen the man cave.
No reason not to.
Maybe I'll do that on the Patreon. I'll give a tour of the man cave, or maybe I'll wait till Sunday when JP's there to watch Fear the Walking Dead, and we'll give a joint. I'll let JP give you a tour of my man cave.
Yeah,
it probably would be funnier to hear him talk about it.
But yeah, we could do that. And like I said, become a patron at as low as $1. There's 4 tiers right now. Of course, you can donate as much as you want.
Yeah, if you want to throw $5,000 in there, hey, we'll start video podcasting tomorrow.
Right. But yeah, we $1 a month.
And here's the thing, if that got built up enough and we could actually start making a decent career, not even necessarily, it's a long shot to make enough off Patreon to have a full-time career, but if it was enough just to supplement some income to where we could cut some hours back at other jobs, imagine just what other kind of content you would get, because both of us would absolutely love to make this a full-time career or maybe start doing something on Sirius, just be able to do this, and give you great content. And but like I said, our main focus first and foremost and always is the quality of the podcast that you're getting. So we want to really step that up, give you some cool video podcast, some cool intros for the podcast, things like that. And what's cool is no matter what tier you enter on, you're entered into that drawing. So if you're a $1 donor, if you're a $20 donor, everyone's entered for the drawing.
Absolutely.
And after 20, it's going to be a big one. And this will be the biggest prize pack we've done. I might throw something in there. I'm going to throw some stuff in there, but it's going to be everything that kind of encapsulates our podcasts and us. We'll definitely have you like a handwritten note in there from us. And who knows? Maybe I'm weird. I collect knives. I don't know why. I've collected them for a long time. Some people collect stamps. Some people collect rocks. Maybe I'll throw one of my knives in there just as a
it's
a
gonna
little
be a lot
piece
of cool
of me
stuff.
coming to you.
A lot of cool stuff. We're gonna get some promo pictures taken pretty soon. So there's gonna be a lot of cool things.
Yeah, lots of good things. So if you haven't already and you've made it this far, you probably didn't dislike us that much unless you just listened this long to continue to hate on us, in which case
have at it.
Yeah, well, cool. But consider hitting that subscribe button or follow if you're listening on SoundCloud, CastBox, YouTube. If you're listening on YouTube, make sure to hit that bell notification beside the subscribe button so you can get updated every time we release, because we put out 3-4 podcasts a week. And please bear with us this week. Our schedule might be a little screwy. We're trying our best to get them all out as they normally are, but our main jobs that pay our bills are being a bit demanding this week. But yeah, and also one last thing, and then we will let you go. Social media info, JP, tell them where they can find you.
Well, you can check me out on Periscope, Jpslim, just plain and simple, Jpslim, Periscope. Check me out. I'll probably do a Periscope later tonight. I'll probably be a little muffed up, which will make it all that more entertaining.
Yeah.
On Instagram, which I barely ever use, J_Radsaw, spelled exactly the way it sounds. I don't mess with the Instagram much, but, do it anyway. And Snapchat, JP5000, JAYPEA 5000. 3 different names, 3 different platforms, same JP.
There you go. Mine is a bit easier. I streamlined mine a while back.
Smart man.
But my Instagram, Snapchat, and my Periscope, which I don't use Periscope that much, but I will, I promise. When I get back into hiking, once the baby's born, I hadn't done it as much. I plan to do a lot of Periscopes while I'm hiking and stuff. But that's easy to find. Any of the 3, just I'm Justin Lloyd. It's just as it sounds. I'm Justin Lloyd. No apostrophes, no spaces, no nothing. And there's 2 L's in Lloyd. I'm Justin Lloyd. Instagram, Snapchat, Periscope. Find us. And that's going to wrap it up tomorrow. Random Rambling, which is where we talk about any and everything that comes to mind. So,
yeah, always a good time.
We appreciate you letting us be a part of your day. We can't wait to talk to you tomorrow. I'm Justin.
And I'm JP.
And we are the Podcasting Dead.